Visionaries. I'm Shalita, the nonprofit Easter O'Neill, and my mission is to help business owners and community organizers launch and revitalize nonprofits that will rebuild their communities. We are back for another hashtag nonprofit no filter live discussion. And today
Oh
we're
my
going to
goodness.
talk about, yes, getting the attention of the media around your cause, right? As nonprofit visionaries, one of the biggest things that we need is exposure. Exposure, exposure, exposure. If people don't know who you are, what you do, or how they can help you, then how are you going to get the resources that you need, right? And there's so many different ways that we can gain exposure, but one of the ways is the media as our ally, right? And we might see, I've so many times I've looked on television, I see people with their organizations or whatever, I'm like, wait a minute, how can I get up there on that national stage on CNN? How can I get on Oprah or Ellen? Or, we have those dreams, but there's a lot that goes into that, y'all. With the prep, you got to be ready. And so, lucky for you, I have TV producer Melody McKinley today as our special guest, and she's going to give us all the juicy details about how we can get that sort of support for ourselves. Welcome, Melody.
Thank you for having me. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be here. I'm ready to get this popping.
Yes, ma'am. And I know we talked at great lengths previous to the interview, just a little bit more about how do people position themselves. There's so many things. I can't wait for you to tell them everything that you told me. But first, tell us more about your experience. I know you're a TV producer, but you have worn so many different hats. Like, tell us more about those hats.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, way back into time. Okay, so I started off as a young woman in the sports and entertainment industry, where I worked for people who managed sports professionals.
Okay.
Way back. Football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, right? I worked with the law group that managed the lives and careers of sports figures. And then I decided I didn't love that. So I went into music, and I spent quite a bit of time in the music industry, where I worked with some of the biggest names in the world. Wow. And I toured extensively and helped to manage them, and then moved on from that to working at radio, retail, music retail, and then finally in television. That's where I am now, as a television producer for a national talk show that will air in the fall. So we're working on it now.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Yes. So you've been on all different sides. The stuff that we dream about, like, oh, I wish I knew that person. Or you know these people. You've known these people. You interact with these people. So why don't you tell us, how do we prepare for media attention? Like, before we even say we want to be on television or in publication, what do we do?
Okay, so let's say whoever you are or whatever you're doing with yourself, let's say you're a nonprofit that deals with children, you have to start by laying the foundation for the media to grab onto. So what is it that you're doing? What are you doing? Like, if you are not first of all, you got to be doing something, right? And second of all, whatever you do, you have to document everything. It doesn't have to be a full-on production, but it definitely needs quotes from the people that attended, the pictures, video. You have to have it on social media, and you have to be able to take those metrics and then pull them all together to put them into a comprehensive one-pager about you. So that way, when you are ready to talk to somebody, you actually have something to talk about versus what you want to do. Don't come with what you want. Come with what you've done and where you're going, right? And what's happening, but not like, what could possibly happen in the future, because nobody wants to hear about that.
Hashtag nonprofit no filter. Y'all know y'all going to get it real raw. Okay. We're going to tell you the truth about it now. So have something going on first. Right.
Absolutely. Like, you have, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but let's say you're organizing something in your neighborhood. It might be a walk. It might be a cleanup. You might love pets. I don't know what you're trying to do, right? But you got to get out there and hit the ground running with activity, because if you don't have anything going on, why should someone know you? I mean, that's what other people are going to say. And then especially people in the media. So,
because they have a lot of people that are trying to reach out to be featured and everything.
All the time. Like, if you could think, like, one person receiving 1,000 different inquiries every day.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And you think that yours is the most important, and so does everybody else. So
Mm.
what separates you from everybody else will be your groundwork. And when you bring it to me or whoever else, you'll be
Mhm.
ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. And y'all know I tell y'all all the time that, that's why it's important to have your strategic plan. You need to know what your mission, your vision, your goals, exactly what your programming is going to be. Like you have to have those things in place and then have a way to manage it. Project management, make sure that, you have processes in place, that there's somebody that's capturing what you're doing. If you like Melody said, if you have an event, you need to make sure that somebody is videotaping, taking pictures, and that there's some place that you're keeping track of it. So when you're ready, when you need it, you can grab it. Awesome.
Yeah. And make sure that it's good quality. I can't mention enough that what you give needs to look good. You know what I mean? If you don't have a good camera on your phone, you got to get somebody who does have a good camera, because the picture says speaks 1,000 words. So if it's grainy, blurry, out of focus, not capturing the moment, like make sure that whatever you capture speaks to what you're doing, not like posing on a step and repeat.
Mm.
Nobody wants to see 1,000 step and repeat photos of you schmoozing with folks. Who cares? You need to get the real content, the content of action.
The content of action. Hope y'all writing that down. So you alluded to it a little bit just a few seconds ago about when you're saying you get 1,000 requests. Like, producers get so many different requests. What does a day, so people can really put that in context, so they can really shift their perspective out of them just wanting to give their information and to know, what are you dealing with? What does it look like?
Well, it depends on what it is, right? So for a daily television show, just picture me pulling my hair out. Okay. So this is what it is. You start early in the morning and you don't ever really finish because you're constantly on call. Every day you are multitasking. It's probably good for somebody who has ADD, so you can handle a lot of things. You're not all focusing on one thing because you can't. So you're fielding calls, you're interviewing people, you're coaching people who are about to come on, you're getting the content that they're delivering to you. You're going back and forth with people because most times people give you the wrong content.
Mm.
Now, we recently had a celebrity that submitted all this wonderful information about nothing. Okay. We needed her to talk about financial literacy, but instead she sent 15 videos of her performing. That
Oh,
doesn't work. And so that leaves people like me who are struggling to pull this one piece of a 12-piece puzzle together. And I have to keep going back and forth and saying, hey, this isn't right. Hey, can you send me bigger pictures? Hey, can you send me different video? Hey, can you send me your bullet points? Because these don't quite make sense. I don't want to make it up. And I want to make sure that when we are speaking to you, we are speaking about exactly what you want to talk about, not what I made up because you didn't send me the information. And
right.
then it's too late for me to switch to somebody else at the last minute. So we're going to go with it. But at the end of the day, the interview is not fulfilling for you. It's not teaching anyone anything. And it really doesn't really work for us either, but it's too late.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
that's a lesson. It's just like, you're not the only person I'm dealing with. Today, I have 7 different groups of people I'm dealing with. Tomorrow, I have 7. And every day of the week, I have 7. And oh, by the way, I work on Saturday and Sunday. So
Good.
that way, Monday's show is ready. But if you don't give me what I need, then it just takes me into a whole nother level of having to drag things out of you. And then that could potentially affect whether or not you come back on the show.
I was about to say that. We gonna get y'all getting some good stuff. If y'all have questions now, because I don't want to hear later on, well, Shalita, how do I, the local news station, like, what do I don't want to hear your questions. I want to hear them now, right? When we have the expert Melody on here with us. So make sure you're getting a lot of gems here, pick them up. Make sure that you have something to report on, that you're capturing high quality photo videos. Make sure you invest in those things, make sure you have that. But then also, when you're being asked for information, make sure you give them what it is that they're asking for. So tell me, what is a press kit, a media kit? Tell me what that is.
Well, depending on what your business is, like the basic press kit would involve a brief bio about you,
Mhm.
pictures, high quality pictures, or links to high quality pictures in Google Drives or whatever place you keep them. And when you give them to us, they need to be unlocked or shared with that person, or because if you don't unlock it, we can't look at it. And then that just takes more time. We
Mhm.
need links to maybe your LinkedIn, your website, and your social media handles. And then any pertinent information about what you're coming on to talk about. So it could mean talking points. It could
Mhm.
mean questions that you would like for us to ask you. And and basically you'll pull all of that together in a comprehensive one pager. So
Mhm.
if it's an email, you hyperlink the website, you hyperlink the all of the links, so that way we don't have to cut and paste. As soon as I open it up, I want to be able to click on it and see what you're all about. And that makes my job easier. The easier my job is, the more I'm like, okay, this person has it together. Yeah, let me bring that person back because they made my life, as far as their segment, a breeze.
Absolutely. Got it. And so maybe one of the other ways, because you said, I have a media kit, and just to digging a little bit deeper into the technical, how you can actually create your own media kit, it could be a link to, let's say if you use Adobe Spark, it could be a link to a landing page that has pictures and different hyperlinks to the information that you want to share with a TV producer, or when you're submitting to be featured. So, I'll put that too in the description too, so that because we're like, what is a media? Okay, I know it's supposed to be in it, but what? Can give you some examples of what media kits look like. So, um, that leads me to a lot of times, and even with me, I used to think that I had to hire a PR person, right? And not that, and I have a PR person, okay, but you know what I mean. That as it pertains to like finding information, contact information for different media outlets, and things like that. If I have an event coming up, like, can you tell us when do we actually need to hire a PR person, a public relations person? Um, when is it necessary?
Okay, so I would say first is you have to start looking at what you're doing and determine whether or not you're doing enough to have a PR person, right?
Mhm.
A lot of us are wearing multiple hats. So if you're a small business owner, you're doing everything yourself, most likely. And what I would say is utilize your resources, friends and family. Utilize the local community college or the local college to get interns. Utilize the seniors in your life in order to help you do certain things like writing and distribution of information. And also, there are a lot of websites out there and a lot of services like on Fiverr, that you can pay $5 and somebody will do this for you. At
Mhm.
the very beginning, when money is tight and you don't have a lot of time, Fiverr would be an option because you can dish it off to them and give them the details, and then they'll write it up and send it off for you for a small fee. So I would suggest utilizing the internet to find resources on your own first before hiring someone. And
Mhm.
then if you're going to hire someone, I would hire them on a per project basis until you can get your funds up. So if you have a particular event that you're working on, like a family fun run, then I would bring in a PR professional to work just strictly on that event, but not keep them on retainer, because ultimately a lot of the things that they will do for you, you can do for yourself, or you can
Mhm.
have someone else do it until you have more money coming in.
Thank you for that. So we've talked about how to prepare, but what when you get there, when you're in the studio, it says television, and what now?
Okay, well, first thing, be on time.
Oh.
All right, because oh man, there's nothing worse than when someone is running late and they're like on first. Okay, it's just like, be early. All right. And then if I were you, I would chew gum or have candy in my mouth just prior to going on set. Because what happens when people go on set, they really get nervous. And the first thing that happens is their mouth gets dry,
Mhm.
like throat and tongue and mouth, like cotton balls, right?
Mhm.
So you have to bring water on the set with you, put it to the side so you can take a sip. And it's okay to take a sip of water in the middle of an interview. Just take a quick pause, reach for the water, take a sip, and then put it back down. Depending on the show, they could either edit it out, or if it's live, nobody cares. They just don't want you to be having this weird sound in your mouth and the microphone. So the sound sounds like this. You hate when people smack. That's what happens to your mouth when you get on set and you start talking and your mouth is dry. It sounds like you're smacking into the microphone.
Mm.
Oh, and then some other advice. I'm just going to give it all to you.
Come on
You
now.
have to don't wear jewelry around your neck or on your wrist.
Mm.
If it's a watch and it's tightly wrapped around your wrist, that's different. But the jewelry makes noises into the microphone. So when you're talking, it's ching, 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 and you're putting it on the desk, click, 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 and then it's around your neck and you're moving and it's just and making noise. So try to avoid big, beautiful jewelry. Even though it looks good, it's not good for the set, okay? And then when you're also coming on, you have to make sure that you speak to the person who's speaking to you, but also speak to the camera. We don't want to see the side of your head the whole time. Even though your profile is super cute, we don't want to see it the whole time. Right. We want you to be able to be natural. We want you to be yourself. Don't come on thinking that you're going to be like Oprah. You're not Oprah, you're you. And we want you to be 1,000% you. And then prior to coming in, you have to make sure that you submit talking points and questions. The first question being the most important. You want them to ask you the most important thing first, because what happens in interviews, you start talking and get on a roll and then it's over. Generally, depending on the show, it could be 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Or 4. So you don't want to come on the show to talk about your fun run and then you don't get to say anything about the fun run. It's like awful, right? And so make sure that you have your talking points, make sure they have your talking points and that they are in order from the most important to the least important. And don't forget to tell people where to follow you, where they can find you at the end every time, and repeat it 2 times.
Got it. Y'all got that? Now,
oh, wait, one more.
No, come on, give it all to us.
Okay. I need you to be comfortable, but not so comfortable where you are leaning hard left or right. You're not at home. You're not talking to your girlfriend. You see this? Oh, yeah, Roland. Oh, Oprah. Let me just tell you what had happened was, see that? That's so comfortable, and so make sure that your posture is straight up and down. We don't want you sitting in the back of the chair. We want you sitting on the edge of the chair. The edge of the chair is where it's at. Don't put your elbows, because your elbows will get you to lean in. Make sure you're sitting up straight or standing up straight. You're looking into the camera sometimes, and then you're looking at the host. The host will ask you a question, and then you say, "Yes, Larry." And that's why I need everybody to come on down to my event, because it's going to be amazing. See?
Yes. I love it. Tell us about colors. Are there any specific colors we should wear or stay away from?
Yes. We don't want you to wear white.
Okay.
You don't need to wear all white. If you're going to wear a white shirt, put something over it, like a sweater or a jacket. And we don't want stripes. Okay. No vertical stripes, because what happens is it just does something weird where it just moves like this. And you don't want people to be distracted from listening to what you're saying and focusing on you, because your shirt looks like it's moving. So
no unnecessary distractions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hop over here to the comments. Oh, hey, Carmen. Hi. Let me put it up here so we can see. So she's asking, what are your recommendations for new orgs that want to make a big entrance into their communities?
Well, if you want to start with a bang, I would suggest that you partner with an existing community organization, an existing community. You have to go to where they're at and piggyback off of something big that they are doing as a co-sponsor.
Ooh, say it again. I don't think they heard it.
I think that you should tag on to someone's already large, wonderful, big event by participating with what they're already doing as a co-sponsor is a way to get your name out there in a big way without having to spend a lot of money.
I love it. See, I'm telling you, dropping gems in here. So explain to me, be brilliant, be brief, be gone. What is that?
Okay, 3Ds. Here it is. Nobody wants to hear you run on. It just doesn't work for people because their attention span is very short across the board. You have a very short amount of time to get in there, say what you got to say, and get out.
Mhm.
So you're brief. You get in here and say, hey, my name is Melody McKinley. I'm a television producer. I do this, this, and this. And that's why you should hire me. That's why you should utilize my services. That's why I'm here to help you. And then after you get in there and you hit it out the park, you're out. Right? So you leave people thinking, wow, she was concise. She was to the point. She said it. She did it. And then she rolled out. You understand? That's why it's called like leave them wanting more, or don't be at the club until they turn on the lights. You know what I mean? To groove on, right? And you know, with your hair flowing on the dance floor, and then you leave. And they're like, oh, what happened to that beautiful person that was on the dance floor? She left. You know, she needs to want more. Maybe next time. Okay.
Maybe next time. I gotta find her, gotta bring her back.
No, but listen, the truth is, you could really lose your audience, especially while speaking on TV, if you speak too long, if you get over and off on a tangent. You really want to keep their attention by getting to the nuts and bolts of what it is that you're trying to do and or say, and then move on. And that's the same for answering the questions from the host. Pointing, you like you're like, I'm doing it now. So this is how it goes. You ask me a question. I don't answer the question too little. Like, ask me a question real quick, Shalita. Just
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
nothing. That's how some people answer their questions. It's like throwing the answers out of people. You don't want to do that. That is the worst kind of interview. But then the other side of the coin on the worst interview is people who go way too long and talk about nothing. You know, and people forget what the question was because you're off in outer space. And then by that time, they've turned the channel. So you don't want that to happen to you.
Absolutely. Okay. So what is, they on the show, the interview is over. What does follow-up look like? What should they be doing?
Well, the first thing that nobody does is you need to say thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. Most people don't, believe it or not. And saying thank you will go a long way with you to maybe get you to come back. You know what I mean? We are super busy and it's a thankless job, really. And so what happens is I spend pretty much my life on the job, and weekends and holidays, nights and mornings and everything in between. And when someone reaches back and says, hey, thanks, maybe a thank you card, a thank you email, that takes you from down here to up here because nobody does it. And so when I am considering bringing someone on for something that maybe you could do, I have 12 people to choose from, but I remember that Shalita sent me a thank you. Let me go ahead and use her. Let me go ahead and give her a chance. And then next thing you know, you're a regular. You understand? And then from a regular, you can move on to other things.
See, y'all, it's in a lot of this, and what I tell my nonprofit clients too is that everything's about relationship building. No matter what you do, you're dealing with humans. And I don't know what we've got out of seeing that, where we just feel everything is transactional and okay, no, these are real people that are putting their heart and souls into this work. And like you said, Melody, that do not get a thank you. So just remembering to be human and to treat people the way that you would want to be treated will get you very far. Right. So you started, you alluded to it just now around, it's not just about being invited back, but what about those people? We keep seeing them on CNN. We keep like, now they're the correspondent for this or they're this, like, how does it happen that way?
Right. So basically it starts exactly the way. Yeah, do that, Melody. It starts exactly the way I said it. You start by getting yourself onto a local show, right? And then once you go into the local show, you make a great impression on that local show by doing the things that I said previously, by being prepared, by being brief, being brilliant, and being gone, by supplying all of the things that they ask you for in a timely fashion. And oh, by the way, in one email. Please don't send 27 emails, because that's the worst. Okay. And then once you make the good impression, you follow up with the person, and then you continue to follow up even when you don't want anything. Hey, I'm just checking in on you. I want you to know there are a few topics that I am very interested in speaking about. Here they are. They're currently happening in the news. And from there, the person will consider you and continue to bring you on. But what's important is, from the shows that you do, even if it's just one show, you take the footage, or you take the B-roll, or you take the article, or whatever it is, and you use that to promote yourself to other shows. I was on the Roland Martin show. I was on Fox and Friends. I was on whatever. And then you take it and send it with a video hyperlink clip in an email and say, hey, I am very interested to come on your show to talk about these topics. I was recently featured on X. And that will help you. And so once they kind of see you over and over again, they'll be like, hey, well, let me just give this person a chance. They're persistent. They've been hitting me up over 6 months. And next thing you know, you're on CNN one time. Once you get on CNN one time, this is your chance. This is your moment. You got to get in there and knock it out of the park by being prepared, being brief, brilliant, and gone, making sure that your talking points are just right, and they have them in advance, and your questions. And then once that happens, if you do well, 9 times out of 10, they will invite you back. And they'll start off maybe slow at first, but as you continue to do good, they could potentially offer you an opportunity to be paid to be on their show. And then you won't go on any other show. You would just be strictly CNN and or Fox or CSNBC or local Fox. You know what I mean? So it's really up to you. It's about the follow-up. It's about taking what you are given and making the best out of it. Take your clips, put them on social media, break them apart according to the best quotes that you said, and then put those quotes out there so that way people can say, oh, did you see Shalita? Shalita says this. Shalita is the expert in this way. And then also, don't box yourself in, because you are not only an expert in nonprofits, but you are a mom. You are a lover of gardening. You are, a basketball commentator in your own mind at home, and you have a big sports thing going on, or you're a spiritual person. You can offer that up. So when these things are happening, you can offer up different perspectives. You don't have to be in a box.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So wait a minute. Let's go back to that getting paid. So how much typically can someone make from, being a regular on, like a retainer or something like that, to come back on a show?
Well, it depends on the show, how popular it is. Sometimes it's free 99. It's just for exposure for you, right?
Right.
Because the more exposure you have, the more business that you can bring in other aspects. Mm-hmm. And then it could be anywhere from $1,200 on up per week, per month, depending on who you are. It really just depends on your star power, on your shine. Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. Well, let me go to these comments. We got a question. Hey, Miss Marva. So Miss Marva said, should we contact the station or Melody? Look.
You can contact me, and you can contact. So what happens is, you would get yourself, use your resources, because everybody knows somebody. You need to reach out and see who knows somebody at WHUR, at NBC, at MSNBC, at wherever, and then you create a list, or see if you can get your hands on a list. I actually have a list I'm open to share. So you get your hands on a list, or you get your PR person to send it out to the list and ask them to share the list with you as well.
Got it. Got that, Miss Marva? That's my client. I love her, Miss Marva. Okay. And and then Carmen has another question. Is sending a thank you gift a bit much, or just say thanks?
No, thank you gifts are well received, especially if they're food. Send me
edible with an arrangement with some, with some fruits and chocolate or whatever to say thank you.
Yeah, that would be super well received. But let me just say this. Mm-hmm. Right now during COVID, many studios are closed down.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that that would be something that people would be readily available to receive, because a lot of people are working from home like me.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. You can't be
and
there.
I'm not going to give out my home address to
No.
folks to send me that kind of stuff. So,
No.
yeah, but otherwise in the office, please send food. We'll take the edible arrangement. Everybody will share, and then I will take the bulk of it home and put it in the juicer.
Uh-huh. And then you'll get invited back, maybe.
No, yeah. People remember that kind of stuff. Don't think that people don't consider that when making choices. They
Mhm.
do.
It's human. It's human. And Cynthia, hey Cynthia Marie, you said this was the earlier comment to having desert mouth, or having, make sure you chew some gum, beforehand, so that your mouth doesn't get dry when you come on air. So
Absolutely.
we talked a lot about on air, but there's different types of media. So, if somebody wants to get in Black Planet or not Black Planet, that's old, Black Enterprise. I don't know how old I am, but Black Enterprise, or different, Ebony, Essence. Like, how do you, in the written publications, like, how do you submit articles, or how you get featured when people are like have a whole page or something like that? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so what I would suggest is that people, this is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
People are so busy, and I'm not saying they're lazy, because we are not lazy. You can literally write your own article and submit it.
Mm-hmm.
You can write about yourself or have someone write about you, and you could submit that article to them. And then from there, they could either one, adapt what you wrote and then put it in, or they could rewrite it and put it in, or they could interview you about what they read. You know what I mean? So you're just submitting something about yourself to them. Again, you would take that one pager and you would send that over to them, with the intention of having them either insert it, rewrite it, or interview. So you're requesting an interview based upon what you're submitting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, who do you send it to? The editor? Like, where do you find that information?
Okay, so it depends on the publication. Let's say if it's the city paper, it says it right within the city paper at the bottom inside the first page. And most magazines has it within the first couple of pages, where you can submit information for them to potentially interview you and have an article about you. Sometimes they find you from different sources. And this is where a PR professional could come in handy, where you choose the right one who has those connections with magazines, and therefore that person can submit that request directly to the magazine on your behalf.
Okay. Nice. And look, I just love how you answer the question so quickly and so precisely, right? That I gotta come up with some more
Are
questions.
you serious? Oh my goodness.
But so tell me more about the pet peeves piece, because you did tell us some very clear, and it's not just to personalize your own pet peeves, but these are things that other producers are thinking, and outside of what you've already listed, what are some things like that you've seen or that have happened that you're just like, don't do this, don't do this.
Well, people are just wonderful, and I love folks, right? I just would encourage people to take the coaching provided to you by said producer,
Okay.
because they're telling you the information not because they want to boss you around or tell you what to do, but they really want you to look your very best. They want you to shine. And in order for you to shine, sometimes you need direction. So, for me to say to you prior to going on a set, please sit up straight. Please remove your jewelry. Okay. Please keep your answers concise and in sound bites. Sometimes people take offense to that because they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Oh, I've done this before. This is not my first rodeo. Okay. Um, and as a human, we're always in a space of learning. So don't ever take it personal, because it's not anything against you. It's just really the end result is we just want everyone to shine. You understand? And
Mhm.
sometimes people take offense. And I've had people be rude to me before. And I just thought, I hope I never see you again. I hope I never come across your path. Don't ever call me again. I'm gonna block your number and your email. Oh no, we can't be friends on social media. Oh no, you can't see anything that I'm doing because you're awful. And not to mention, I never want to see you again.
This must have been really bad. Oh my goodness.
No matter what station I'm at, no matter what network I'm at, if I ever come across your path, and this is very real. Like I had one guest that was so pushy. I just thought, ma'am, you do know I have the right to shut you all the way down.
All the way.
Oh, not to mention the fact that she tried to circumvent me and go straight to the host. And then she called it out in front of him while I was there. And I just thought, wow, that wasn't very nice. And oh, by the way, I will never see you again. And oh, by the way, I get to control who comes on here. I'm the one that's in control of that.
Hey.
He doesn't do that. I do that. I tell him who's coming on. It's the funniest thing. And so people sometimes overstep because they're so hungry for success that they're willing to step on anybody to get it. And you have to just be mindful that the feet that you step on while you're trying to rise your way to the top are connected to the ass you may have to kiss later.
Ooh. That's a quotable. Melody, that's a quotable right there. So be careful how you treat people, right? Because you're burning bridges and you don't even know that you're burning bridges.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. So let's take it then at hashtag nonprofit no filter. So there have been times, and I know this isn't you at all, but there's been times where like I've been misquoted in an article, or people might reach out to you to feature you or interview you, and they tell you one thing, you're thinking it's for one thing and you're excited about it, and then you get on and then the questioning goes completely different and to paint you out to be something different. Like, how do people avoid that? Or if they find themselves in a situation where they like the cameras are on and now these questions are coming at them that they were not prepared for, what should they do?
Well, two things, right? One, you have to give them what you want to talk about, and it has to be clear and it has to be concise. The bullet points have to be there, 5 of them, not 12, not 27, 5 concise bullets, right? And then you have to submit your questions. Your questions have to be short and to the point. They have to be speaking about exactly what you want to talk about, and it has to be the most important question first. Most times, if you do not provide that information, people will make it up, which leads to you talking about something that you did not come on to talk about. That's it. You are in control of what goes down. Sometimes there's a rogue host, and the host sometimes will talk about something on the side, and sometimes they won't talk about what you want to talk about. But this is where media training comes in. It's up to you. You are, believe it or not, the host is not in control. I mean, he is start to finish, like he starts it, he finishes it, but you are in 100% control of what comes out of your mouth. And what they ask you is whatever. You bring that thing right back around to you. So let's do a little mock. Let's do a little mock, right? So ask me a question about anything, and then turn around and make the question, ask it about me, but really make it about you, and then start talking. And then I'm going to interject. Go ahead.
Okay. So why don't you tell us more about that restaurant that you reviewed the other day, the new soul food restaurant?
Okay. So, and then you talk, and then you say, well, talk about the restaurant yourself.
Okay, because me and my girlfriends, the other day we went there and it was so amazing. I met the bartender. I told them about the work that I was doing. I invited him to come on and maybe talk about some of the work that they've been doing. And I also heard too that, they've got really great reviews there, that, people are starting to come there. And the owner also, I met the owner too. And the owner was just amazing. And, I was just wondering, how can I maybe have some events there, or, okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. I got it. You know what? I totally love soul food. Food is good for the soul. And that's why I started my company, The Soul Outside, because the soul outside is everything to me. When I go outside, I believe that you can be healed when you go outdoors. It not only speaks to your soul, but it speaks to every ounce of your body, mind, and soul. You'll be able to utilize the nature aspect to bring it to your life and then take it to every other thing that you do, because it calms you. It creates a sense of peace. It really brings it home. So that's why I believe not just soul food, but your soul can be accessed in nature. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I came on the show to tell the world that's what I do.
Hey, wait a minute, Melody. Y'all see how she did that? You picked out what part of what I said and then brought it right back on around to why you were there. Perfect, yeah. Perfect example.
And you have to do that every time with certain hosts, because they want to talk about what they want to talk about. They want to make everything you're talking about them, right? Or they get off on a tangent about something that has nothing to do with what you came for. But what you do is you take what they say, you agree every time. Oh yeah, I totally agree. You take a part of what they say, and then you blend it into whatever the hell it is you're talking about. and then you put a period on it, like you speak in a soundbite. Like I said it a little long, right? But you speak in a soundbite, and then you also say at the end. And that's why I started my organization, and that's why people can find me doing this work 7 days a week at www. Don't say www. thesouloutside.com. You know what I mean? And so don't ever, and this is the second tip, don't ever say www. Don't do it.
Because that's
don't ever do it.
Said. Yeah, just say the actual website. Love it. So, okay, so this is when, if it's in person and you have an opportunity to turn it around in that moment and redirect the host to what you came there for. But what if there was something in writing? It was an article, that was published or something like that, that they interviewed you and you gave the talking points and what you wanted them to put in there. And then when it came out, it was something completely different. How do you remedy that situation, if at all?
Well, two things can happen. One is that you request to see the article before it gets published.
Okay.
All right, for approval. And you make that a thing before you start. You know what I mean? And you get that in writing. You put it in writing. I want to review this article before it's published to make sure that it is, within the guidelines of what I'm putting out there. Right. And then the second part is, if they actually put it out there and it's not something that you agree with, or they misquoted you or whatever, you can ask for a retraction.
Okay. So you can do that.
Immediately.
Or what was the other?
A retraction.
A retraction. Got it. Okay, you can ask for a retraction.
Yeah.
And is it against code for them to, if you ask them you want to see the article beforehand and they say okay, but then they don't and they publish it anyway? Is there like recourse that you have if that happens?
Absolutely. It depends on how far you want to take it. Right? Okay. If you want to consult with an attorney and have an attorney send a cease and desist. Now you can download one off the internet, right? Put your friend's name on it if you want to get jiggy. But if you want to hire an attorney, it might cost you $100 to send a cease and desist. And if they don't retract it or take it down or whatever, then they can be sued. Okay. Especially if you put it in advance that you needed to see it. You wrote it, had it written in advance. They agreed to it. That's in writing. So there are grounds there for them to be sued.
Got it. Okay, let me check back in the comments here. Y'all, give y'all a sec. I know at the end, I like to open it up for questions from those who are watching. Do you have your own questions around anything that we talked about? And even if we didn't talk about it, like what media, television, local, national exposure. And Carmen, yes, Carmen, look, you have to stay humble as you elevate. Humility will get you further than a power trip. Hey,
okay. That's true. That is true.
Okay, that is so true. So anything else you wanted to share with everyone? That keep in mind too, the majority of the folks are new nonprofit or grassroots nonprofit leaders. And a lot of folks that watch me too are from the Black community. So, there's also this, because it can get so deep, but around the different issues that we're working with around racism within media, within every institution, right, in this country, that sometimes stories are picked based off of what they want to project about us. But like, do you have any thoughts around that, or how?
I have a couple of things. So I'll just start from one, and this just goes back to technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you're speaking, speak at a normal pace.
Mm-hmm.
People get so excited that they blah, 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 blah. So you basically throw up all the information. Speak clearly and speak slowly and concisely, right? That's the first thing. Don't rush through your interview. Two, as an African American or a person of color or a Black person or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, you need to make sure that you utilize all your resources. Just because you have a Black nonprofit doesn't mean that you can't reach out to other people who are not Black.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who has money can donate to you and or help you.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you have a nonprofit in DC, in North Carolina, doesn't mean that somebody in Africa or California won't be ready and willing and able to assist you and help you in any way they can.
Mm-hmm.
So bigger, broader, global versus right here. Because I promise you, all of the things that you are going through, you're not the only one. And the folks that you're serving right in your community are not the only ones. The same thing is happening all over the world and all over the United States. So I would suggest that you think broader. So when you want to interview, somebody in Wichita, Kansas may want to interview you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in Texas may want to hear about your story and what you're doing in your community so they can share it with their audience. So don't just think local. Don't just think CNN. Think broad.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in my position all over the United States needs a story on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So don't just think there's 5 stations in DC, WJLA, NBC, whatever all of them are.
Mm-hmm.
You just only go to them. Don't just think it's got to be TV. Yes, magazines, YouTube interview shows like this one. Also blogs. I mean, there's so many things and ways that you can get out there. So don't cut yourself short by thinking this big instead of this big, right? And then lastly, as far as racism is concerned, yeah, racism exists. Yes, there were people that won't bring you on or won't help you because you are a brown person. But here it is. Out of every 10 people, one might be racist, and then you got 9 left.
Mm-hmm.
And then for every 9 that you get rejected, try 9 more because somebody's gonna take you on.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is just don't give up, because in giving up, you're letting yourself down, but not only yourself, you're letting down the community in which you serve.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So here it is. Think broad. Don't give up. You understand? That's the message that I want to give to people. There are so many avenues to get the word out. It doesn't have to be in your backyard. Your message is for everybody. I don't care what you do.
Amen. Amen. And so Cynthia's asking, is using Haro effective? And so that is help a reporter out. Can you tell us what that is?
I don't use that.
Okay,
I don't use it, so I would have to do some research to find out more. I'll be honest with you, but if it's a site where people can get stories or whatever, yeah. I mean, use all the avenues that you have available, as long as the fees are reasonable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If there are fees, okay? Because sometimes a lot of these things just want your money. Okay, try to get the free stuff first. There's plenty of it out there, and it may take a little bit of research. But if you do a little bit a day, like just 10 minutes or whatever until you find an email for someone or a piece of contact information, that's all you need. And then if you do that once a day for 30 days, you have 30 contacts. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might find more than one. 30 is more than enough to start. Get with some of the other nonprofits and share your information. So somebody else might have 30. and you compare to see which ones you don't have, because you don't have to do this alone. I think people think I got to do it all. Nobody said that. Nobody told you that you have to do all of the heavy lifting. The key to it is, and the key in media is, we share everything. Sometimes I can't call Congressman so and so, so somebody else will call,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll call for me because they have that connect, and it'll just be easier for them to get through to that person. So utilize your resources, because that's what they're there for. If you were meant to do everything by yourself, then God wouldn't have put you here on earth for real. You'd be on Mars somewhere where you're alone. Okay.
All right.
So again, it's it's critical that you save yourself heartache and stress and your wallet by sharing the load with people in similar situations who also need the same services. Just share services across the board. That's what I do. Get yourself an accountability partner or an accountability group, and then share the resources.
We call it sugar sharing. You know, back in the
Hey,
you can go to the neighbor and knock on the door and ask for a little bit of sugar. And then when you get some sugar, you go and give it back, and then y'all exchange sugar sharing. We don't do that.
hey,
We gotta, I know it's COVID, but y'all, let's not.
I get what I'm ready to say. I'm not going over to the neighbor. I have to go order something
I
offline.
can't do.
Offline.
That sugar sharing, it's still good, depending if you like your neighbors. Okay, so that's another thing. You ain't got sugar share with everybody. You don't have to collaborate with everybody.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
like Melody said, you do have to identify those people who align with your mission, and you're all working towards the same thing. Because even when we're talking about funders, they want to see collaboration. It's only but so much that they're willing to give out. And so if you can identify or collaborate, partner with another organization that does similar work, and you're working towards a similar mission, then you can share the resources. It's okay to share. It's abundance out here, y'all. And that also leads me back into when we talk about the tribe building. I always say you got to build your tribe and have your the folks that are going to be out there working with and for you and helping to move things forward. You also want to make sure that you're prepared. Let's say you get on these different media outlets, and people are asking you to come back, and because of it, you're getting all these different calls and all these like people want to get involved and people want to help you. Be prepared for that. So if you are a grassroots organization or organization where, like Melody said, you're trying to do everything all by yourself, I suggest you slow down first, build your team up, which first and foremost are your board members. Yes, your board members and ambassadors and other volunteers with the organization, so that they know what their role is and what the expectations are. So when you get 10, 15, 20 people emailing you or calling you about something that they want to help you with, there's someone at your organization that is ready there to accept those inquiries and then can direct them in the right place. You don't want to put all of this out here and say all these things, these great things that you're doing, and then they reach out to you and you don't get back to them because you're overwhelmed. And then people completely, not only do they lose interest, but then when someone else asks them about your organization, there's a negative comment there. Oh, they weren't, nobody ever got back to me. Nobody, so moral of the story,
Don't
be
be
ready.
don't be that black business, please. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Come on. Okay, y'all. So now check back over here if we have any additional questions. Okay. Hey, Antonio. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. All right. So to wrap it up, Melody, thank you so much. Now, this is not going to, I'm going to ask you back. Like, you don't even got to say thank you to me. I'm really like, you're going to come back and tell us some more, because there's still so much knowledge, so many other questions I'm sure people will have. But thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you allowing me to just come and give back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Melody. Because I still look, y'all should see the notes I took from our initial conversation. I am also learning from Melody and the things that I should be doing, and I'm going to put those into practice. Don't you worry. So if you're watching this, look, subscribe, like, and share. If you're looking at it from YouTube, make sure you like my page and share it. Subscribe, share it. If you're looking at it on Facebook, like the page. Y'all know we're back here. We're here every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So next week, which will be August 11th, we're going to be talking about fundraising and resource development for nonprofits, right? So our special guest is going to be a surprise. I tell you, stay tuned. You got to like and share and subscribe in order to get the information. But y'all know that also I'm here. If you're looking for someone to a nonprofit coach, you're needing some support to either expand, fundraising, whatever the case may be, you can reach out to me, ShalitaO'Neal.com, not www, but ShalitaO'Neal.com. Reach out to me and we can see what we can do together. Okay. So I'll see y'all next week.
Can people follow me at Melody J.
Well,
McKinley? Follow me at Melody J. McKinley on Instagram or Melody Graves McKinley on Facebook and Melody J. McKinley on Twitter.
Give me IG Melody.
Melody J. McKinley.
Yeah.
Follow my adventures. I'm an outdoors woman. I just recently traveled around the United States to national parks in the West. So I went to 8 states, 7,000 miles. 7 national parks, the Pacific Ocean, all types of cool stuff. Anyway, thank you for having me.
Y'all better follow her now, okay? She's amazing. Until next time, y'all, be real, have fun, but get results.